Larry, did you see the terms of the agreement between Lebanese government and Israel?
Uh,
It was unbelievable what was mentioned in that agreement,
yeah.
that Hezbollah is not going to attack Israel in the southern part of Litani River, in the south to the Litani River, and
Well, yeah.
Hezbollah is the enemy of the state of Lebanon. What is
Well, that, yeah. I didn't read the whole thing, but when I heard sort of the briefing on those parts, I just laughed because it's just ridiculous that they think that they can ignore Hezbollah, and that and as I pointed out earlier, 40% of the Lebanese army that's supposedly going to enforce this is Shia, and they've got too many family ties into Hezbollah. And do you think it's just a coincidence that and did am I suggesting that Hezbollah may have deliberately infiltrated the Lebanese army? You bet your ass. Okay, these people are not fools. They're survivors, and they understand that they're up against a terrible enemy. So, what? And that's why I went back and said that until they get Hezbollah at the table, they're not going to have an agreement. Yeah, I particularly laughed at the going to force Hezbollah to abandon territory south of the Litani River and go north. Yeah, that'll happen. So, actually, and it goes back to Colonel Wilkerson's point. Israel is overstretched. Put it, and I say, put it in the context of take the population of New York City and put that population in New Jersey, and for Americans anyway. You live in Brazil, you don't know what I'm talking about, but that's basically the size of Israel. Now, imagine how the city of New York would react to news that in the last 6 months we've had 200 of our police officers killed. Good Lord, that would be considered an unbelievable number. I mean, it would be shocking, and yet that's what Israel's experiencing. And then we're not talking about the number of wounded. That's far, far larger. And then add to that they're getting the post-traumatic stress syndrome treatment, the growing number of suicides among Israeli reservists. So no, look, this is an ugly, ugly situation for Israel, and they painted themselves into a corner, and there's not an easy escape route or one readily identifiable. So this is, and yet the extremists that surround Netanyahu, the Ben Gavirs, the Smotrich, they're going to double down. They are not actually stepping back and rationally evaluating the situation.
Now, Alistair's point about it being the kind of army that it is, basically the people mobilized, reservists, and the strategy that's now being pursued being absolutely counterproductive because you've got call it a citizen army, if you will, basically. And you've got this strategy that is calling on them to act like a huge professional army going out and fighting to the death 4 or 5 countries at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is insane.
the point, Colonel, with the case of agreement between Lebanon and Israel is that, as you say, that Hezbollah is not going to attack Israel south to the Litani River, you're legitimizing the occupation of the land of Lebanon if you're not going to fight back. And in this agreement, there was no mention if Israel going to withdraw totally from Lebanon. Nothing of that sort was mentioned in this agreement. That's why Hezbollah, then later on, we had Hezbollah rejecting the whole thing. And here is what the Prime Minister of Lebanon today said, that Iran should have mercy on southern Lebanon and stop treating it and its residents as a bargaining chip to improve its terms in negotiations. I don't know what this guy is talking about. I don't know what is that bargaining chip that Iran is using in these negotiations. And how is that going to influence, improve Iranian position? Because they're talking about Lebanon, the occupation in Lebanon. And this guy is talking about Iranian negotiation. Iran is using, what is happening with this government?
Well, they're intentionally. Is that for me?
Yeah, Colonel.
Yeah, I think they're intentionally talking past one another. I think the bottom line for Iran in Lebanon is that Israel has to stop. And if Israel doesn't stop, and if it goes even further, Iran will add its weight to Hezbollah and begin to attack Israel in places that they're being attacked only by Hezbollah now. And that's going to deepen the conflict there. And Iran has what I would call leverage now, really real leverage, and it's going to use it. And it's going to use it. I think ultimately it's going to, they're in a position now where I would expect them to begin to exploit the leverage they've gained in this conflict, notwithstanding whether or not they might have a nuclear weapon. They're going to use the leverage to influence every one of these conflicts. They're going to use it to influence ultimately the one, and that's Palestine and no state and the continued killing, which Netanyahu, I was looking at the figures yesterday, Netanyahu is still killing people. I mean, he's killing people at a fairly alarming rate, should be alarming anyway, to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, to Tony Blair and all those nuts who are supposed to be doing something there. He's still killing them. And he's moving lines around so that he can kill them more expeditiously. He's killing them above ground. He's not going down into the tunnels and trying to get Hamas the way Lapid and Naftali Bennett and others want to. But he's still got that conflict going, and that's still part, I think, of Iran's ultimate wishes. And they'll use their leverage there too. We can't isolate these conflicts that Israel is involved in, because each one of them has a critical point for Iran too, not least of which is as they're demonstrating in Lebanon. But I think they're going to be the same way about Palestine and a Palestinian state, much the way MBS has said, however rhetorically. But I don't think it's rhetorical anymore. I think it's profound now. And I think they're going to insist on whatever comes out of this ultimately, if we do have some kind of settlement, that there be a viable road to a Palestinian state, and it not be in 10 years or 15 years, it be post-Hayes. That's the kind of leverage I think Iran is building in this conflict. And it's leverage I don't think we realize.
Yeah, no, just to reinforce Colonel Wilkerson's point, in the recent effort to revolve the Abraham Accords, that both the Saudis and Qataris, they all made it clear, hey, we're not doing any Abraham Accord until the Palestinians have a state. Okay, that's it. So you don't get to use the Abraham Accords as an excuse to disenfranchise the Palestinians. But when you come back to the whole issue of Lebanon and Hezbollah, how ironic it is that when the civil war started in Lebanon in 1975, Hezbollah didn't exist. That was the emergence of Amal, which was a tool sort of, at least at the time, of Hafez al-Assad in Syria. And it's only in 1982 when the Israelis invade Lebanon and make their way all the way to Beirut that Hezbollah emerges and becomes an entity. Now, again, at that point, there was a natural alliance between Hezbollah and Iran from the standpoint that they were Shia. But it was not. That wasn't part of some, a big bullshit plot by the Iranians to, overthrow the Christians in Lebanon. But now here we are. Good Lord, 47 years later, or 44 years later, and Hezbollah is the dominant force. I had to explain to somebody yesterday. They keep thinking, they ignore the fact that yes, back in '82, Hezbollah was a let's call it a militant organization specialized in fighting. But today they are how do you describe it? They're a governing entity. They provide social services. They provide health care. They're a step beyond, you know, if you've watched any of these gangster movies, you know, like the black guy that controlled Harlem, you know, on Thanksgiving and Christmas, he'd show up with a truck, pass out turkeys to everybody. Yeah, this is a step beyond that. Hezbollah is doing more than just passing food out to people. They actually they provide a full range of government services in addition to being a premier fighting organization. These are not incompetent people. They've actually got some high degree of military skill, and so they're gonna and now finally, after 47 years, this is the first time, as you noted, Nima, that Iran stood up and said, "Wait a damn minute, you're going to stop. If you attack them, you're attacking us." So this is now put it into an entirely new dimension, and it takes it beyond just, oh, does Iran have a nuke? It's put it into a whole new arena of remaking the political and power structure of the Middle East.